Hi, I'm Candace.
I'm Ripley.
I'm John.
And this is Comicsplaining.
The show where someone got denied, defended, and deposed, but it ain't us.
Sure isn't.
That's right, we are not millionaire CEOs.
Of deadly health companies.
Yeah.
Rest in shit, you son of a bitch.
My health insurance company has been trying to give me a free subscription to a diet app. Like, it's included with my plan. And I'm like, I didn't ask. And also, that just has really weird, gross implications, doesn't it?
Vibes are off.
The vibes are so off.
I got a free subscription to one. That's where that scale upstairs came from.
Yeah,
Huh.
that's the app that they're trying to give me.
Yeah,
Well, that's
it actually helped me out.
I mean, a free scale is a free scale. I'm not saying it's always a bad thing. I'm saying...
look at me. I have insurance. That's what.
I mean, you say this, but my insurance is ridiculously expensive.
My insurance just went up significantly.
Mine also went up significantly this year.
From what I've heard from my therapist, everybody's has.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Well, hopefully that'll change. For no reason in particular.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
We'll see about that.
Maybe
Eventually the fervor will die down, unfortunately.
it's called copycats, my friend.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Ripley, you're here. You're not sick?
No, I'm not sick.
Okay.
Thanks for that, by the way. It was fun.
John and I both got sick immediately after that, and Ripley and I are not sure that we got it from Ripley, but John is sure that they got it from Ripley.
And
so.
I spread it to my family at Thanksgiving.
Good job.
Yes.
That's on you. Frankly.
But to be fair, I thought I was just anxious.
You're confident you got it from me. I'm not confident you got it from me, but hey.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. So what did you think of the Thor episode last week?
I thought the Thor episode last week was pretty good. It was nice to hear from Thor again.
Yeah.
Oh, Thor.
The Warriors 3 were up to their good old-fashioned shenanigans.
And Odin was stuffed in the boiler room.
It was fun to hear that the Warriors 3 have an evil counterpart.
Yeah, that was interesting. If you skipped the last episode because it was Thor, you should go listen to it because that's mean. And I'll be sad if you don't. So, just consider that. Think about that.
Anyway, we're back with the X-Men. Does anybody want to tell me what happened last time with the X-Men?
Wolverine's getting married.
Yeah?
That's true. But there were some things that were happening because of that. Or rather, not because of that, but...
The Silver Samurai showed up.
Yep.
And Madam Hydra, or Viper, or whatever the fuck her name is. They were doing something.
They were trying to kill or get Mariko to step down and step away from her claim to the family.
Right, because the Silver Samurai is her brother.
Yep, her half-brother.
And he wants his inheritance.
Yeah. And
he wants vengeance.
And then this happened at the end, but Logan was gonna go kill people, and then Rogue was like, I want to come, and he was like, alright.
Yep, also the X-Men were landed in the hospital because Madam Hydra poisoned them.
I didn't remember that at all.
Now, to be fair, Logan was like, okay, fine. Not alright.
I mean, okay.
Coming with.
To be fair to myself, the reason I don't remember this very well is because it's been Thanksgiving and an entire Thor episode since then. So
yeah,
it's been a while.
It's not like I'm that much better.
Can you tell me what else happened?
You got the majority of it. There was also a appearance of...
There's a Yakuza head boss who seemed to be lurking in the shadows doing more than I think he was supposed to be doing. I didn't understand what that was about.
Also, Yukio was gay with Storm.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, there is an appearance of the Firebird of the Phoenix.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Right, yes.
And everybody's concerned about that.
Well,
it seems fine.
You know, it's actually okay. It's fine. There's
cool.
Nothing wrong. Everything's fine here. How are you?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So that's the majority about what's been going on with the X-Men.
Okay. Thank you.
It's a little bit out of order, but that about sums up the majority of what happened last issue with them.
Okay.
In the Ginza shopping district of Tokyo, people are just peacefully going about their lives. A tourist hub, it usually doesn't catch the kind of action that comes moments later when the two men are chucked through a window pane.
Oh, man, this is back when neon was still everywhere.
Inside the bar, Wolverine has a Yakuza lieutenant by the throat, demanding information while Rogue just hangs back, leaning against the bar.
I kind of miss neon being everywhere.
Yeah, me too. It wasn't exactly great for the environment, but it had such an aesthetic.
Right?
Yeah. But eventually all the signs got replaced with LCD, and they just don't look as...
They're boring.
They're not as good.
No.
And this is like peak Japan neon nighttime era.
Well, Rogue's hanging back, leaning against the bar, at least for the moment, up until someone tries to gank her with a scythe.
It does not work.
I like her skunk stripe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I ever registered that it was just straight up a stripe going all the way down the middle.
Well, it is right now.
Yeah.
The weapon breaks before the woman.
It doesn't so much break as it bends. Just boink.
Yeah.
And her attacker definitely wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Or the follow-up from Rogue.
That's generally not what I expect when I stab people. Not that I have, but, you know.
What?
She grabs him by the throat and slams him to the ground, cutting off the lieutenant's last hope. So the next time Logan demands to know where to find the Grand Oyaban of the Yakuza, the man talks after warning Wolvie that he'll never actually reach him with all the Oyaban's defenses.
Wolverine goes through people pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Yep, we'll see about that.
We will.
But not just yet. First we turn to Yukio and Aurora.
Ooh.
She's looking rough.
Seeking shelter from one of Yuke's associates. He won't help her, though. The Silver Samurai has placed a death mark on their heads, and he can't chance the trouble. The women are preparing to make their way back across town to the hospital, despite their wounded and ill-equipped state, when the exit to the alleyway is cut off by a group of 6, looking to fulfill that death mark.
Oh, Aurora, if only you knew how ironic that thought of yours will be one day. Oh well, you only die once.
YOLO!
They're unarmed, and Aurora's powers are still on the fritz, but it's going to have to do. In the face of Yukio's unusual ease towards the situation, Aurora smiled slightly, thinking to herself,
There. Oh well, you only die once.
Elsewhere, Rogue and Logan have found their way to...
Rogan.
That's their ship name.
I don't like that.
Ah. Now, how do we get Joe in there to make this worse?
Biden?
No.
I was thinking Seth Rogen.
I was thinking Joe Rogan, which is terrible.
You went the cursed direction.
Yes! Because this is already a reasonably cursed ship.
Yeah.
They found their way to Oyaben Nabatone's home, and easily make their way past his much-touted defenses by just flying over them.
Well, yeah, Rogue can do that.
Inside, things are equally quiet. Wolvie doesn't smell anybody fresh, so the pair make their way inside, following Logi's nose wherever it goes.
Doesn't smell anybody fresh, like a new person?
He doesn't smell like anybody around.
I see.
Rogue doesn't seem to be taking it too seriously, relying on her invulnerability to save her.
Understandable.
When she breaks the beam of an electric eye, a robot pops from the wall and blasts at her, nearly putting said invulnerability to the test, if it weren't for Wolverine kicking her legs out from under her, knocking her down below the beam.
I mean, when you have invulnerability, I feel like it's pretty easy to get into that mindset, you know?
get a little cocky.
Someone tried to stab her and she was fine.
But, if you are in a universe where invulnerability exists, you have to be genre savvy and be aware. There's always going to be people trying to make that not be a thing that you have.
There's always a bigger fish.
Yes. There's always a bigger bitch.
Such an act deserves a reward by Rogue's counting, and she leans in to give him a kiss.
Okay, so Rogan lives.
Oh boy.
But is interrupted by a fist clenched under her chin, just waiting to pop those claws if she tries it.
He's getting married, Rogue.
Hey, it's, bachelor party?
A foul smell begins to permeate the air as they draw nearer to Nabatone, and when they finally reach him, the source becomes clear. He's dead, and has been for some time now.
And this is why they'll never get to him.
Well...
After the shortest moment to put together the pieces, they realize the crime lord Mariko encountered was a fake, and they've been set up.
Uh-oh.
Drawn away from the hospital, leaving Mariko defenseless.
Rip.
Ruh-roh.
Kind of. They've still got Secret Service protecting them. But this book isn't called Japanese Secret Service, so we'll see how that goes. Meanwhile, Aurora has cut loose, using her powers to handily defend the two of them. She feels a certain guilt for using her abilities like this, but once the alleyway stage has been cleared, Yukio just laughs it off. They deserved what they got, given how they came after them.
I mean, I think that she has a fair point.
Bit of a fair point, at least.
She quips that they'll now think twice before going out in the rain. And like that, the guilt evaporates, and Aurora embraces Yukio's way of doing things by calling a lightning bolt down from the sky.
Oh boy.
Alright, Storm.
Wolverine and Rogue make the best time they can crossing the city, but even as they haul ass, things are going down in the hospital.
Oh boy.
Shuriken begin to fly through the air, cutting down Mariko's guards before they can even fly off a shot.
Of course.
Rip.
It's Viper, backed up by a posse of ninjas, and she makes a call of no survivors.
That's fun.
That's when Rogue finally appears, crashing in to knock the lot of them out through a newly formed hole in the wall, leaving their foes to fall to the ground. Given they're only a floor up or so, everyone lands safely enough. So Vipes orders the ninjas to take Rogue out.
Viper lands in a sexy superhero pose with one leg extended out, like there's no physical fucking way that a human being would be fine landing like that.
Also, even though they're only a floor up, they went through a wall.
It's fine.
An exterior wall.
Yeah, but they're ninjas.
Supernatural ninjas at that.
I didn't know that.
I didn't
Well,
either.
like they're hand ninjas, right? I think.
Are they?
The hand are supernatural?
Well, they turn into dust, right?
Oh. I don't know.
Maybe they're not hand ninjas. I don't know.
I don't
was
know.
a little unclear about A, if they were even hand ninjas, and B, and if all hand ninjas do that, and C,
Actually, I'm not sure if they are hand ninjas.
who she's working with right now.
I clearly don't know anything about the hand.
I don't know much about them either.
While they're busy with the young mutant, Viper herself slips away from the fray, seeking out the Silver Samurai so they can finish what they started.
Making fuck. Because they're dating.
Speaking of him, he's the last one left upstairs when Wolvie shows up, insulting the man's pride by implying he wasn't man enough to do the job himself. The samurai charges across the room, energy sword drawn and ready to slice Logan in two. If he can, that is. Sylvie's not used to someone able to meet his strikes with that nigh unstoppable energy sword like Wolverine's adamantium claws can. Logan himself lunges in, easily slicing into his opponent's armor.
Oof. Get his ass.
As they fight, Harada clutches his stomach with one hand, injured by Logan's attack, and it gets worse for him as Wolvie aims for the face.
Ooh.
His armor saves him, and Kenny Uchiho manages to get the X-Man in a headlock, driving his sword straight through Wolverine's gut, dropping him before aiming another attack at his neck.
I mean, grabbing him like that just gives him the opportunity to shove his claws in your arm. I realize it worked out this time, but like...
That adamantium skeleton comes through for our boy yet again. He's still up and fighting and uses the samurai's proximity to his advantage, grabbing hold of his opponent's sword arm and snapping it.
Nice.
He's about to finish the job when Mariko intercedes on behalf of her half-brother, insisting he not. Logan is hesitant to leave him be, insisting that her bro will just give it another go later.
Which is
fair. True and fair.
They're spared any further discussion when Viper reappears, gun drawn, demanding they step away from her man. Logan's sure that as soon as Harada's out of harm's way, she'll fire. Still, with few other options, he does as she orders, placing himself in front of his fiancée with the plan of shoving her through a nearby door to safety. As they edge away towards the door, though, Keniuchio collapses to the ground.
Oh, hey!
Spurring Vipes to make her move. Logan does what he does best, but he still moves too slow to avoid Viper's shot.
Moving.
Or he would be anyway, but that's when Rogue flies back in, just in the nick of time.
Faster than the speeding bullet. Or beam?
Blaster. Shoving both Logan and his lady to safety with a strength that catches Wolverine off guard. Vipes continues holding fire on her blaster. Its power affects even the young X-Man, but she holds her ground, remembering the respect Mariko'd given her. As soon as he's back on his feet, Wolvie's back through the door, trying to finish things off with Vipes. But an instant later, the villainess's gun explodes in her hand, sparing him the trouble. Rather than continuing after Viper, he rushes to Rogue's side, holding the girl up from falling, while Vipes makes her get away with the Silver Samurai via teleport ring.
Nice job. Good thing your fucking hand didn't explode with it.
Along with that ring, right?
Right. I mean, if you're gonna use a blaster gun, you have to know the exact point at which it overloads.
Or you could just let it explode in your hand and maybe lose your hand with it.
Lose your fucking hand.
Rogue is fairly sure the blaster fire did mortal damage, but Logan's got a plan for that.
Well, yeah.
He wants Rogue to touch him and absorb his healing factor. Ever traumatized by her own power, the former villainess refuses.
She was all ready to fucking kiss him earlier.
She's worried about killing him. But after she took that shot for Mariko, it's all he can do, so he leans in to kiss the girl.
So that's where the movie gets it.
A week later, and we find Mariko in the courtyard of the family home in Agarashima. She's too excited for her wedding tomorrow to sleep.
Aww.
Suddenly, she hears footsteps besides her own and turns to find a mysterious man who wishes the both of them well.
Uh-huh.
A moment later, and he's gone, leaving a confused Yoshida to decide it had all been a figment of her imagination.
Odd.
Okay.
Come morning, and everyone is beginning to arrive for the wedding, including Lorna and the Summers family, along with a +1 that raises quite a stir.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
As soon as Lilandra lays eyes on Madeline's face, she moves for her sword, ready to strike the Phoenix down before things can run out of control again.
Well now. Okay. It's a party now.
Only stopped when Colossus restrains her. Chuck speaks up in Maddie's defense, insisting that she is, in fact, not the Phoenix.
Well,
she
that's
is
true.
Definitely not the Phoenix.
Definitely not.
And that seems to be enough to get Lil to simmer down. Scott, though, doesn't have that same confidence. Though he keeps his thoughts to himself to avoid another incident. Another unrelated incident does follow, though, because at that very moment, Storm streaks by overhead, touching down in new black leathers and a Mohawk to match.
Yeah!
Oh.
It's the new Storm look. Fuck yes.
New Storm look.
While everyone is surprised by her new look, none are as shocked as Kitty, who runs off crying over the betrayal.
What? Kitty, what the hell?
Kitty, you have no say over what Storm does with her body.
Also, you have no taste.
Yeah, so true.
I mean, we know this. Remember that look she showed up?
That's true.
Every look she's ever showed up.
Kitty has no taste.
This is very true.
Because Storm just showed up with the look of the century, and...
Yeah. This is my favorite Storm look.
and Kitty Pryde is... How could you?
Mm-hmm. Kitty, it has nothing to do with you. Get your hormones in check, girl.
Of course, the surprise isn't just one-sided. As Aurora turns to answer a question from Scott, she too is shocked to see Madeline Pryor.
Well, yeah.
That's fair. And considering she also saw a firebird in the sky.
Eventually, all file into the venue and take their seats, still discussing things amongst themselves. Maddie can't resist the urge to pet what she thinks is a cat. But once she opens the bundle, she's quite shocked to instead see the tiny dragon. Beginning to feel quite overwhelmed, she grabs her man by the tie, demanding to know what the fuck he's gotten her into.
Yeah.
That's actually...
a fair question.
Yeah. Madeline, these are probably the people who are going to try to be killing you soon.
Well, I mean, one of them did just draw a sword on you.
So, you know, 1 is none, 2 is 1. There's gonna be more.
Mariko then begins to walk down the aisle, dressed in her wedding finery. She looks so beautiful that Logan is left breathless, and together the pair approach the altar, ready to begin their new lives together. Or so it seems. For when they reach the front of the room, Mariko announces that she's calling off the wedding, having deemed her beau unworthy.
What?
Ooh, that's gonna hurt.
She then turns and leaves him standing on his own, passing by a man smoking a cigarette.
Ah.
Aha.
As his friends file out, Logan sheds a single tear.
God damn it.
So stoic. So manly.
How'd you like that?
Would you believe I don't actually care that much about Logan's love life?
Yeah, I don't know. It was just kind of... I like Storm's new look.
Yes.
A lot.
I hate Kitty's take on it.
Yeah. I don't know. 3.5. It was fine.
Sure.
Thought it was thoroughly competent. 3.75.
Was.
It's competent.
Yes.
But it's kind of boring.
This is the Wolverine show, and I'm not interested in Wolverine's love life.
It's not the Wolverine show. It's because the Wolverine show has shit going on.
Oh, God.
This is...
We're in a holding pattern before whatever Phoenix shenanigans start up.
Yeah. I don't know. It's fine.
What do you think CMRO thought?
4.
4.5.
You were pretty close, John. 4.45.
God damn!
Next up is Uncanny X-Men 174, written by Chris Claremont, penciled by Paul Smith, inked by Bob Wysek, colored by Glynis Ween, and lettered by Tom Orzechowski, with a cover by Paul Smith and Bob Wysek. I really like this cover.
It is a nice cover. It's interesting.
It looks a little different from some of the usual stylings we get.
The Starjammer hangs in space. Inside, 2 young people, Scott Summers and Madeline Pryor, watch the beauty of an Earthrise.
Well, I guess she's all in.
Well, yeah.
It's enough to bring Pryor to tears, which her beau lovingly wipes away.
And hey, it's even harder to crash a plane from up here.
Something they both have managed.
Yes.
They're really perfect for each other in that way.
The pair fall into a passionate embrace, so caught up in making out that they fail to notice the entrance of Corsair and Hepzibah. Hep teases them just a bit before proposing Christopher give her a little loving as well.
Yes, we know he's a furry.
But for right now, they're busy. Later, though, maybe. Slightly embarrassed, Maddie expresses her long-held desire to make it up here, and now here she is. And Corsair, probably seeing a bit of himself in the woman, offers to give her a tour of the ship, leaving Scott and Hepzibah alone on the bridge. Scotty explains that Maddie is like a dream to him, but hearing doubt in his voice, Hep questions his commitment, asking whether the pair would die for one another, as Chris very nearly did for her.
Wow.
I mean, she is basically his stepmom, I guess.
Yeah, but what a question. Would you die for this woman that you've known for, like, a month?
I guess the tour must have been a very short one, because soon enough the pair are back on the bridge. Chris introducing the newest of the Starjammers, Binary.
Okay, sure. She needed somewhere to be.
Yeah.
Chris was like, I'm never letting anyone hurt you again, my dear.
Won't let anyone get their hands on her.
That's understandable, considering.
She shares many of Maddie's feelings about space, and seeing her chance, she took it. Question is, will someone else? Shortly before meeting his new lady love, Scott had mentioned potentially joining his father to travel the stars. With that question hanging in the air, and Madeline's sad expression, Scott so suddenly unsure.
Uh-huh.
Meanwhile, down in the ship's infirmary, Charles Xavier and Lalandra are having another of their physical therapy sessions. Lil studying a computer readout. She explains that she believes the problem with his legs is a physical one. But unfortunately, she can't stick around to see him get better. She has to return now.
I mean, she's literally an empress, so...
Things have only gotten worse in the Shi'ar Empire with Deathbird at the helm.
God damn it.
And she has to return to fight to end her sister's rule.
I'm sorry, Deathbird is still in charge?
Yep.
And she's just been fucking around?
Yep.
Yes.
Girl, what?
Sometimes when you love someone, you just leave the government of your
entire
country.
Fucking empire? It's not a country, John.
I mean, actually it is.
It's... Okay, but...
That's what a country
yes,
is not.
No. I understand technically, yes. But that feels somewhat reductive when we're talking about multiple planets.
The once Empress offers for Chuck to come along with her, using his abilities to fight at her side, while Charles sadly asks her to stay.
Charles, look. She has shit to do.
Each asks something the other cannot do. They each have their responsibilities.
And one of them is being more reasonable than the other.
Always this shit.
I'll leave it up to you to decide which one you think is being more reasonable.
Further, he is, sensibly, worried by the Scott and Maddie situation.
What?
Yeah.
Only worsened by the fact that Madeline just happens to be immune to his powers.
That's weird.
That's a red flag. That's a
huge red flag.
So at this point, we should be spacing her, right? We should just space her and not ask anything further.
I can't believe this is the first he's telling anyone about it.
What if that makes her become the Phoenix, spacing her?
Great question.
That would be like 5D chess.
He wonders if Mads really is the Phoenix, reborn and come back to her lover. Both hope that not to be the case, hoping that Scott finally does just get his happy ending, and the pair embrace, hoping one day for their own.
Hopefully he gets his happy ending with this woman who happens to look exactly like his dead fiancé and also is immune to fucking having her mind read.
I'm sure that's nothing. It's
yeah,
nothing.
it's totally fine. It's all gonna work out fine.
It's good.
It's good. It's great, actually.
Back up on the bridge, Scott stands alone, lost in thought over Madeline. He loves her so, feeling complete for the first time since he lost Jane. But he's still troubled in the face of all Maddie's missing past before her plane crash.
I'm sure she has a past before her plane crash. I'm sure that's definitely a thing that exists.
Just then, as if summoned by his thoughts, Madeline reappears on the bridge, spotting his glum expression. She drapes her arms around his neck, explaining that he can't let his ghosts control his life. But it's not just that. It's the thought of leaving. So Scott has a proposition for her. What if she comes along?
Let's go to all the places the Phoenix has gone and see if anybody notices.
What, like the planet she blew up?
Yes, let's try to jog some memories.
Yeah, I don't think anybody will notice there.
Down planet side in Agarashima, the gates to the Yoshida compound explode open, and Logan, with the family sword, steps inside, ready to fight the many takers ready to have a go at him.
Hey, Logie, what you doing, bud?
That is, until Mariko orders them all to lay down their weapons and let him through. Logan just wants an answer. Why did she call off the wedding?
And why wait until the last minute? Because that seems like a bad idea.
Why do it at the wedding?
Right?
But the only answer he gets is the same one he received on his wedding day. That he was not worthy.
Oof.
Logan doesn't find that an acceptable answer.
No shit.
But tough shit, it's the only one he's getting.
Ugh.
Mariko points out that he murdered her father.
That wasn't a problem a week ago.
That was like a selling point at one point.
Right?
That does nothing for Logan's temper. He raises the Muramasa blade in position and stabs it down into the earth, proclaiming that if he's not worthy of her, he's not worthy of it. Mariko seems to agree, ordering a still-injured Keniuchio forward to return the blade where it belongs.
Why are you here, Keniuchio?
I feel like she's being mind-controlled.
What? You mean a really powerful telepath who just happened to be around is manipulating the situation? What?
I don't think it's the person that I think that you think it is, so.
He's been made her heir, which seems really smart considering what he was just trying to kill her.
Yeah.
Also, like, her heir, is he, like, younger than her, or what?
I think he might be.
Okay, by how much?
Who knows?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Mariko then orders Logan to leave, and the X-Man does, sad Hulk music playing the whole way as he goes.
God.
And no one's questioning whether manipulation is happening here.
Right?
Back in Westchester, we find Kitty Pryde curled up on her bed with Lockheed and the latest Star Wars comic.
Oh, I love that ad on the back.
Oh. Kind of a cute little reference, as Marvel had the license for the book at the time. She's really enjoying it, and decides she has to show Petey Boy something in the book. So after dislodging the dragon from his usual perch around her neck,
Cute.
Kit Kat phases through the door and heads down the hall to knock on Piotr's. Pete's in a bit of a sour mood, having an artistic block on his latest painting, and he crabbily refuses to open up. Unfortunately, he neglected to lock said door.
She didn't even have to go through it.
Right, not that that could have stopped the phasing wonder.
Right.
She doesn't actually see what's wrong with the work, but to him it's all wrong.
Well, yeah.
The feeling's off. Kitty, deciding he needs to take a break, snags his palette and pulls him out into the hall for some kind of surprise up in Aurora's attic.
Okay.
Huh.
That's random.
Well, that's not what this started out as, but sure.
But first, she needs him to close his eyes. Very hesitantly, the Russian giant obeys, and Kitty takes advantage of the moment, leaping up into his arms and laying one on him.
Alright, Kitty.
An angry Piotr blushes furiously, but Kit Kat waves it off, claiming she couldn't help herself.
Yeah, you could. You could.
She could, but she didn't.
She didn't. Again, get your hormones in check, please.
I don't think they're gonna get their hormones in check.
Well, her. He's fine.
That wasn't actually what she had in mind, though. Still in his arms, she covers his eyes and instructs him to walk forward. She's been practicing, you see. And with the advancement of her skill, she can also make others airwalk with her.
Aw.
Okay, neat.
The pair begin to climb upwards towards Aurora's attic room, unbeknownst to Pete, though Kit Kat pulls her hand away from his eyes to concentrate on what she's doing as they pass through the floor. Peter begins to become confused as to why they haven't yet hit the wall. And he opens up his eyes, exclaiming loudly, "By the White Wolf!"
Oh boy.
Kitty's concentration broken, the pair go down in a heap on Aurora's floor. Piotr is, to say the least, impressed with the progress Kit Kat has made.
That's fair.
And the two sit there, close together. So close.
Oh boy.
He asks if they shouldn't be watering the plants. But Kitty has other things in mind.
About those hormones.
Meanwhile, Aurora is returning from a midday flight, delighted to find visitors in her room, right up until it's teenagers making out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kitty sheepishly explains that they came up here to water her plants, until they look around and realize they're all gone.
Oh? Huh.
Okay.
Aurora's gotten rid of a lot of them to match her new changes.
That's...
You could be a plant punk.
Why so minimalistic?
Downstairs, we find Kurt tending to a still fragile rogue in what was once Jean Grey's room.
Oh!
It's a mansion. Could they not have given her a different room?
I guess that was the vacant one.
Also, seeing as it's not really Jean's room because the mansion has been destroyed since Jean Grey has lived there.
Guess they could have given her what was once Scott's room.
This is a Ship of Theseus kind of situation.
She's still depressed, finding herself unworthy of having been saved. At least partially because of the way the X-Men treat her. But Nightcrawler points out that Logan saw something in her to have saved her life. The subject then turns to everyone's unease over Madeline's similarity to Jean, and what the hell was that all about?
That's reasonable. Someone's actually asking questions.
And so Kurt tells her a little story of the life and death of the Phoenix.
Oh boy.
And then leaves her to her healing. The story is still very much on his own mind with what happened to Storm in Tokyo. Right now he longs for his sister girlfriend. And as if by magic, he notices a box in his room. Curious, and having learned nothing from his birthday, he opens it, finding a cute little doll of Amanda to match her cute little Banff doll.
Of course.
Sometime later, we find Scott Summers and Madeline Pryor back on Earth, mid-flight, piloting a plane headed for Anchorage. Things have progressed in their relationship. While Scott hasn't decided whether or not he wants to head off into the great black yonder, he did pop the question with an absolute monster of a ring.
Oh boy! Okay, so...
Yeah, it's very clear that his endearment to her clearly is not caused at all by her similarity to his dead fiance. That's totally not the case.
This is not going to go how you think.
It's fine.
Making great decisions.
They're all making great decisions.
Yes.
But they're nearing their destination, and they have duties to attend to. So Scott gets to his feet and heads back into the cabin to instruct the passengers to buckle up for safety. Buckle up. Midway through his trip down the aisle, one of the passengers, a priest, calls for him as he dropped something when he passed. Or did he?
Ooh.
It's a picture of Jean from right before her turn to Dark Phoenix. But it's not his.
Uh-oh.
He turns deathly pale and noticeably shaky as he heads back up to the cockpit.
Oh, isn't that from when Jean was hanging out with that one guy in Greece?
Yup.
Ooh.
But the priest just smiles to himself. noting that it's just the beginning of Summer's troubles.
Oh boy.
Is it? I think we're squarely in the middle of his troubles. I think we've been in the middle of his troubles for some time now, actually.
Yeah, I was about to say the beginning of his troubles was birth.
At the very least, the first plane crash.
Yeah.
Scott never discusses the matter with Maddie, as he settles back into his seat, claiming instead to have a tummy ache, while insisting it won't get in the way of their celebration tonight.
I'm sure they're going to make it to that celebration.
But Maddie can tell something's off with him. That evening, she gets supplies at the market so Scott can cook. We all know what a great cook he is.
He's gonna make salad and bread.
Maddie's going to be let down on her hopes there. She's also going to be in for big trouble, as in the foreground, Mastermind lights up a cigarette and just laughs and laughs to himself.
No way, Mastermind.
What?
How could it be?
When she comes in, champagne bottle in hand, Pryde is in a bubbly mood. But Scott has a little black rain cloud floating over his head and a question he first needs an answer to. And so with Maddie's arms around his neck, he finally asks the question that's been tearing him apart for all this time. If she's the Phoenix, come back to life. Come back to him.
That's gonna go over well, I think.
Furious, she winds up and punches him square in the face.
Yeah.
Knocking him backwards into a table and his glasses right off his face.
You know?
Hey, Maddie.
It's kind of neat that he didn't open his eyes the whole time.
And luckily for the both of them, he manages to keep his eyes squeezed shut, despite the impact. Of course, because he's Scott, he thinks he fully deserved it.
Uh-huh.
And look, I know I'm a Scott Summers apologist, but I think I'm being fair here. It would be fair for Maddie to walk away and never see him again if she was upset. It's fair to be upset. It's fair to throw the ring back at him and be done with him. It's not fair to hit him because she's hurt and thinks Scott's in love with a ghost and not her.
Right.
Yeah. Also, there are legitimate concerns about this woman. Like not just, romantic concerns. There are, world-ending, life, in the galaxy, destroying concerns about who she might be.
Look, I know you're a self-described Scott Summers apologist, but I think in a lot of cases that is necessary. People give him a lot of unnecessary flack. And I'm not a Scott Summers apologist, so...
But so many people have reason not to trust Madeline Pryor at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going off of, what we've encountered so far.
Right.
I don't think I'm being unreasonable here to be this is not...
I mean, even completely out of context, it's never okay to just wind up and punch your partner.
Correct.
Dude, come on now.
But also, the question needed to be asked.
It sure did.
Someone needed to ask this question.
And the fact that Scott thinks that this is his fault is just his self-esteem speaking.
Yep.
Anyone who thinks otherwise, fight me down in the comments. Anyway, he pulls his pair of spare goggles from his pockets because of course he has that.
Wow.
Of course, he always does. We know he has a go bag.
Yeah,
We've covered it before.
He's prepared. He's always prepared.
But when he looks around, Madeline is gone.
Scott is that scene in Baby Driver where the dude keeps taking the glasses off his face and he just keeps pulling out more glasses out of nowhere. That's Scott.
He searches the house, looking for his missing fiancée, and finds her, in a sort of way, through a darkened doorway. When moments later he is hurled backwards, body aflame.
Uh-oh.
Well.
There's no more time for talk, she claims, eyes blazing.
Uh-huh.
The Dark Phoenix has risen.
Oh, cool.
Okay, Dark Phoenix, you're
That's
abusive.
Sudden.
Congrats.
How'd y'all like that?
I liked it more than the last one.
Yeah.
4.
Sure, 4.
4.25, I liked it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think CMRO thought?
4.5?
4.
You were pretty much on the dot, Candace.
Oh.
3.99.
Of course,
shit.
because it's not about Wolverine.
Last up is Uncanny X-Men 175, written by Chris Claremont, penciled by Paul Smith and John Romita Jr., inked by Bob Wysek and Paul Smith, covered by Glynis Wein, lettered by Tom Warzachowski. I forgot to put who did the cover, my bad.
Okay.
On a fine day at the X-Mansion, the X-Men are hanging out outside, working on taking down a disease tree.
Huh.
Storm, once so aligned with life, mourns that she missed its sickness up to this point.
That's what you get for taking all those plants out of your room.
She's talking over the teamwork exercise they've made of it, when suddenly bright light flares blinding overhead, forcing all present to squint. It's the Firebird of the Phoenix, flaring bright again, but only for an instant before vanishing once more.
This is
boy.
bad.
It seems fine.
In its place, a body tumbles from the sky. Quickly, both flyers take to the sky to rescue the flying man, only to realize it's Cyclops.
Oh boy.
Wow. Hey, Scott. Is this a plane crash without a plane for you? Is that what this is? Because I feel like this is a plane crash without a plane.
Add it to the list.
Storm wants to hurry him off to the infirmary so they can look him over. But with Dark Phoenix returned, he and Professor X have different priorities, and Charles calls the X-Men to his study. I guess they must keep an extra costume around for when Scotzo visits. Because by the time he's up there explaining what happened with Madeline, he's suited up. Chuck doesn't fully get why she attacked, though, given Phoenix's love for Scott, especially with the fatal ferocity with which she hit. And if she was going to do that, why heal him? Things just aren't adding up. He wheels over to Cerebro to confirm that Jeannie actually is out there and cranks it up to 11. He quickly regrets it moments later.
Oof.
Xavier just screams, overwhelmed by power flowing from the machine.
Yeah, I think that was a bad idea, Chuck.
Quickly, Rogue cuts the power, but Chuck is left in an unconscious, barely alive state.
Be really good to have some alien healing tech right about now.
He needs medical treatment stat. Luckily, the X-Men have a state-of-the-art med bay and a teleporter on hand. So Kurt does as he does, reappearing down below, hoping dearly that the strain hasn't worsened the professor's already dire condition. Back up above, the X-Men search for answers as to how the hell that happened, when Cerebro's safety function shouldn't allow anything like that.
Somebody turned off the safety.
Logan sets the resident teenage computer whiz on the case, and after poking around for a few moments, a confused Kit Kat confirms that things are way wonky with Cerebro. The safety interlocks are off, and everything was set to reflect Chuck's powers back at himself.
Cool.
But it makes no sense, because they watched him set it correctly. But maybe it does make sense. Scott begins to glow, wreathed in fire, as the Phoenix rises up from around him.
Oh.
This is fine.
Suddenly he collapses, and there she is, before the X-Men in all her glory. The Dark Phoenix with the cheeky, "Hi guys, miss me?"
Not really!
I did.
Aurora is quick to strike out with her lightning, knowing her friend is gone. But there's no winning against the Dark Phoenix, and it is quickly bent back against the Weather Witch.
Again, I think that shouldn't hurt her, but whatever. We've gone over this. We don't need to relitigate it.
Piotr pleads for her mercy, but she has none for Storm, and none for him. And with the motion of her hand, she curls him into a painfully tight ball.
Crunch.
Ow. Like a pop can.
Kitty never fought the Phoenix back in the day, but she can't bear to see her crush in such pain.
Oh, no.
So along with Lockheed, she rushes in.
What the fuck is Kitty wearing?
New costume!
This is why we should not trust her take on Aurora's fashion.
Yeah.
Along with Lockheed, she rushes in, hoping to disrupt her energy pattern with a phase, while Lockheed breathes a jet of flame. Kit Kat's left worse for the wear, yelping out in pain, while the Phoenix swats the dragon painfully away. Next up comes another newcomer to Phoenix shenanigans. Rogue charges, only to be seized by the throat.
Touch her! See what happens!
Oh, yeah.
That seems like a good idea.
That would work out well.
Yes! I'm sure that'll be fine.
She's then thrown clear out of the house with a thunderous kaboom!
Well...
Ow?
Yeah, probably.
Jean then turns to Wolverine, ready to turn her tender mercies on him if he wants any of what the Rock is cooking. But frankly, it smells like shit, so he doesn't try anything.
Okay.
Alright.
Yeah, fair.
I mean, probably a smart choice.
That seems to please Jeannie just fine, so she takes her leave, claiming to have errands to run.
Okay. She's got to pick up bread and milk.
Yeah, Scott never got the chance to cook dinner. Though with the promise that she'll return for more fun, before vanishing in another flare of the Firebird.
Yay!
Woohoo! Once she's left, the X-Men begin to pick up the pieces and lick their wounds.
Oof.
Leader Storm orders Scott carried down to the infirmary, and Rogue found, while the rest of them make contact with the Starjammers to warn them of the situation.
I think that's where the bread and milk is.
Oh, maybe.
When they try, it's a struggle to even get through. In the wake of the Phoenix's reemergence, energy wavelengths all up and down the spectrum have been disrupted. But when they finally reach, the news is not good. As John predicted, a tattered Corsair answers the comms.
Oh, hey, look! The bread!
Good job, John.
Explosions in the background, explaining that Lalandra and the crew are dead.
And that's the milk.
Great.
Victims of the Phoenix, and she's not done yet. As she comes in for one more pass, he pleads that they tell his sons he's proud of them, that he loves them. And then it's over. The ship explodes, and Corsair with it before the shocked eyes of the X-Men.
So I'm pretty sure I know what's going on here, but I'm not going to spoil it.
The situation worsening by the moment, Storm does something the X-Men seldom do.
They call out to Captain Racism.
She calls for help. Her very next move is to get the Avengers on the horn. But no sooner has she explained the very most basic details to Captain America than the ground begins to shake. Cap screams out as a blast of flame flashes across the screen.
Rest in shit.
And the transmission goes dark.
Okay, then.
Out the window the Firebird flies.
Goodbye, New York.
New York City is gone.
It was nuked.
Nothing but a smoldering ruin. Confirmed by hacked government satellites, something Kitty can apparently do.
Okay.
Wow.
She just knows how to do that now.
Congrats, Kitty. You are now a national security threat.
Right. Well, I think she already was, to be fair.
Well, yes, but now she's a national security threat without using her powers.
Oh, that's impressive.
Yes.
Down in the med bay, Kurt tends to his patients. Xavier is recovering nicely, and Scott shouldn't be down at all, but he is, and deteriorating at that. He's caught Padmitis.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, that's understandable, though. His love turned out to be the Phoenix.
Again!
Hey, Scott, this might say something about your taste in women, that this keeps happening.
It keeps happening.
Who could have ever seen this coming?
You have some sympathy for him, but, like, with some people at a certain point, you have to ask, is it something that you're doing?
The energy you bring is sometimes just not
It's challenging.
good.
It's challenging.
He's also having an out-of-body experience, noting how sad Storm looks. As she leaves, a white light begins to fill the room, and Scott is torn by whether or not to enter the light. Part of him doesn't want to, but part of him is very much comforted. Then suddenly, amongst the shapes of those who've passed before, he makes out the shape of a woman. At first mistaking it for Jean, he reaches out for her.
But she's blonde. What is wrong with you, Scott?
He's colorblind. He's got that fucking visor on, man.
Her hair probably looks very red.
So wait. In his out-of-body dying experience, he can't tell her.
He still has his visor on.
Yeah, his visor, which is definitely working in his out-of-body dying experience.
Yeah. That's how he sees everything in the world, so of course that's the way he thinks.
God damn it.
But the woman instead forbids him to come any further, and he begins to tumble into darkness, just as he finally recognizes Catherine Ann Summers, his mom.
Yeah.
When Scott sits up in bed, he's confused. He's uninjured, despite everything. But how?
Well, because he was supposed to be uninjured.
Mm-hmm.
And so he begins to put the pieces together. What if this isn't really the Phoenix, and they're all just being played? That's why Charles had to be taken out first.
Yeah.
He could have called the game for what it was. That's why it took real time to get from Anchorage to New York when Jean could have made it in a flash.
Mm-hmm.
Once he realizes who this has to be, he knows he has to rig the deck in his favor.
Mm-hmm.
And so he rushes out of the infirmary on missions unknown.
Yeah. Scott figured it out. After I did.
It only took just about nearly dying to do it.
Yeah.
I hope the next time you are in a pinch, you don't have to almost die to figure out the problem.
10 minutes later, Scott has found the X-Men, and he rushes into the room, explaining that it's not the Phoenix they're facing. They are less than receptive. In an instant, Piotr steals up, furious to see the Phoenix here again.
Oh, great.
Oh, fun!
Aurora uses her winds to drag him into the room and straight into Colossus's arms. So it's going to be that kind of fight, huh?
He got clotheslined.
Cyclops pleads that they're all being tricked.
I think it's a little past that point.
I don't think they're gonna hear you, bud.
That this is all an illusion, but that's less than persuasive, and the burly Russian punches him straight down into the ground, cracking a few ribs in the process.
I'm a little shocked he's even able to keep going at this point.
Knowing he can't take another blow like that, Scott hits him full bore to knock Rasputin off him, upsetting him backwards into Rogan's storm with the help of a little judo.
Oh.
Woo!
He then blasts Wolverine and sweeps his beam across the ceiling, knowing Nightcrawler likes to strike from above.
Ooh.
That buys him a little bit of room to work with. But only for a moment, because that's when the brave little dragon comes flying in, looking to singe a few hairs.
Uh-oh.
Not quite as clear what he's dealing with Lockheed, either in power, scope, or durability. Scott flees rather than fight him.
I love that pose.
Which one?
The sexy pose going
The sexy
around the corner.
pose, yes.
Oh, Scott.
Ass
swinging
out.
around that corner like he's a fucking stripper on a pole.
Yes, he is.
Kitty's not going to let the Dark Phoenix get away that easily. She tackles him through a wall, but Scott just rolls with the momentum, letting it carry them through the balcony railing, the pair of them now plummeting towards the ground floor. It works like a charm, and Kitty does exactly like he thought he would, facing the pair of them through the floor to the danger room below. Knowing where they're heading, Storm sends Nightcrawler ahead to arrange a suitable welcome for the Phoenix, reminding him that in this instance, their lives are expendable.
Oh. Okay.
So Kurt bamps up to the control room to turn off the safety interlocks.
Yeah, that seems like something that Storm would say.
That's fun. Someone is in a real mood to kill these people.
Well, I mean, it's potentially the whole universe, right?
Yeah.
Stark Phoenix gets hungry.
That's true.
As Kitty and Scott fall down to the airbags of the danger room floor, Kit Kat re-solidifies and Scott takes the teen temporarily down with a nerve pinch.
What?
Ooh.
Okay, Vulcan.
No, that's his brother. One down, only the whole rest of the team to go. That's all right, though, because not far behind her is Kurt. When he goes to adjust the danger room controls, he's taken down by a painfully disabling shock.
Ah.
2 down, 4 to go. The rest of the X-Men finally arrive on the scene, throwing open the danger room doors. It's time to see Scott's gambit. He's transferred the danger room controls to a portable computer module.
A PDA.
Looks more like a calculator.
It does look like a calculator.
And at the press of a button, just as his friends charge in to take on the planet-ending threat of the Dark Phoenix, the room becomes a facsimile of the Savage Land, and the floor drops out beneath Colossus and Wolverine, forcing the Flyers to attend to their falling friends.
Logan says, cripes!
Logan, you'll be fine.
Colossus will definitely be fine.
Look, they'll be okay.
I mean, I think Logan would not be happy.
Yes, but I thought they were expendable.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, but they definitely need them.
Right?
Yeah.
They easily grab them, but the X-Men are admittedly a bit thrown off balance as to why the Phoenix, nearly all-powerful as she is, would bother with something as trivial as the danger room.
Mm-hmm.
Aurora refuses to change gears, though, considering this just a cruel attempt to give them false hope, ordering Wolverine to follow his nose wherever it goes. All of this, though, buys Scott the time he needs to get to cover in the underbrush, watching and waiting to make his next move. He's not alone in that. Also monitoring the goings-on with growing fascination is Jason Wingard, along with his captive, a very confused Madeline Pryor, who doesn't really get anything going on here. It doesn't particularly help that, for whatever reason, Mastermind has conjured himself up a hell throne.
Uh-huh.
That's new, right?
It's a normal look.
Like, this isn't... That's not his vibe, right?
Not generally.
Like, we know people whose vibes are hell throne.
Yeah.
In fact, one of those people tried to date Loki.
Well, yeah. He's not here.
I know.
Probably. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah?
Probably not.
Yeah.
To each his own, I guess. He introduces himself, explaining that he's going to use his illusory powers today to destroy the X-Men.
Okay.
Namely, by tricking them into destroying Madeline herself.
Oh.
He's going to break them. An innocent life, and not just an innocent, but their friend's fiancé.
So, Madeline is just a victim caught up in this.
Yeah.
Furious, Madeline attempts to strike out at him because she's nothing if not consistent.
She's very violent.
Yes.
Though in this case, who can blame her?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
She demands to know why, and it's so very simple. Revenge. He looks at her and he sees Jean Grey.
Well, why wouldn't he?
Well,
just
you
like
and
all the
everybody
others.
else, buddy.
Get in line.
He remembers the touch of the cosmos, and how he'll never reclaim that level of connection again, and the madness that came along with it. But what he can do is make everyone pay.
I'll make them pay.
He's been at this for a while now, stalking the X-Men in disguise, as well as settling various scores of his own, explaining that he was always going to attack Scott's lady love, whoever she may be.
Wow.
He cycles through several faces for the young women.
Oh, hey, it's the Yakuza Oyabun.
Oh,
Yep.
shit.
That explains that.
Yeah, sure does.
And the priest.
Well, that was obvious.
That wasn't even subtle.
Yeah. And then he lands on Scott. I guess Maddie wasn't listening because all she sees is her fiancé.
I think her brain is fried right now.
Panicked, she begins to explain everything going on, but Scott just pulls her in for a kiss, only to change once more to Mastermind's grody OG form,
Ooh.
Yeah.
giving Mads a major yuck.
I give her the ick.
He brags that he could make her love him no matter his appearance. And maybe he will.
How?
I mean, he did it to Jean.
Yeah. But, like...
He didn't make Jean love her in his grody form.
That's true.
Yeah, see, when he did that with Jean, he did it, like, the old-fashioned way.
Gotta hate this guy.
By brainwashing her.
Yes!
Gotta hate this guy in a love to hate him and a hate to love to hate him way.
Yeah. I mean, he's meant to be that, though.
It's an impressive scheme, but this seems a little out of his weight class. Just a little.
I don't think so.
Back in the danger room, Scott scampers through the underbrush, using the tree cover to hide from the flyers.
Scampers like a little guy.
He's just a little guy.
Just a little guy.
Well, Logan and Piotr stalk Jean from below. They're not exactly alone in that. Scott stalks them right back.
Oh boy.
All the smells the danger room's putting out seem to have neutralized Wolvie's powerful sense of smell.
Okay.
But he's still onto something, or at least he thinks so.
I'd love to know how any of that works.
He doesn't seem to have noticed Psyche crouched on the branch behind him.
So I'm not sure it does work.
Well, you see, the danger room has smell-o-vision.
Ah.
That's in the 4D part.
Aha.
Too bad for him, that allows Scott the chance he needs to pop off a blast at the back of Wolvie's head, bagging himself another X-Man. At least for as long as that manages to keep him down.
Right.
Scott's kind of counting on being able to rally the troops to take on Mastermind once he convinces them all he's not actually the Dark Phoenix. The downing of his partner infuriates Colossus, and he starts tearing after a quickly winding Scott. Tearing down the trees in his wake. Yeah, those busted ribs are really starting to wear on him.
Yeah, I bet.
Still kind of impressed Piotr, why'd you pull your punch?
Turns out it was all a trap, though. Meant to lead him into a pit of cartoon quicksand that swallows the Russian up to his chest.
Wow.
2 X-Men to go. Wanting to be spotted now, he runs out in the open for the exit, a breath mask on his face.
Where did he... Never mind, I'm not even... It's in his go bag.
He's always prepared.
He is.
Always. Even when he doesn't have pockets.
How do you know?
I don't see anything that looks like pockets in that outfit.
They're inside the trunks.
Oh, God.
See, he doesn't have a butt that's just like... His plan works like a charm. He's easily spotted, and Storm does exactly as he predicts, going for the lightning. Still confused as to why the Phoenix doesn't fly. She almost nails him with the bolt, but whether by hesitation on Aurora's part or dumb luck on Psyche's, she misses, and Cyclops hits the new leader of the X-Men with an optic blast, knocking her unconscious from the sky.
Oof.
Wow.
Lucky for her, she's got Rogue right there to save her, and the newest of the X-Men gracefully scoops the leader up, landing before what she thinks is the Dark Phoenix in a field of poppies. Time for the last step of Scotzo's plan, for now. He hits the flowers with a wide-angle blast, releasing poppy dust into the air, and sending the X-Man to sleep.
I don't think it works like it does in The Wizard of Oz.
I was wondering if those were poppies.
Game, set, match. Having wiped the X-Men he mostly trained, Scott picks Rogue up over his shoulder, leaves the danger room, and kills the power to the rest of the house so old Jason, if that is his real name, can't play voyeur anymore. When he finally sets her down for the next step in his plan, he's back in the infirmary next to Professor Xavier. Carefully, he removes the young X-Man's glove, knowing he's taking a real chance here.
Ooh, boy.
Untrained as she's going to be, she could seriously fuck him up. But he needs a telepath to help the others see through the illusion, and Xavier's in no shape to help. With the aid of smelling salts, he brings Rogue back from the land of slumber, slapping her hand down on X's dome before she has the chance to get her bearings.
And let's
Clever.
really hope it doesn't kill Xavier.
He'll be fine. He came back from dying before.
he
We could just clone him again.
Yes, we can just print out another one.
At once her world turns upside down, overwhelmed by the sudden rush of sensation. But through it all, Scott is there, guiding her with the second-hand knowledge he's accrued from all the telepaths he's known. She's still lost in the sauce when the rest of the X-Men catch up with the pair, demanding Dark Phoenix step away from their teammate. But Scott doesn't do that. He pleads for them to see reason, asking why he's talking to them, why he's been running. He then uses Rogue's powers to finally show them all that all along it's been him, not Phoenix, they've been trying to off. Wolverine is still dubious that it's all a trick, and from behind them all, something seeks to exploit that thought. It's the Dark Phoenix! Again!
The fuck?
But this time Psyche's not buying. He calls her out as an illusion that can't hurt them, right before the Phoenix hits him with a beam and he cries out in pain.
Well.
Only in reality, it's not so much a beam as it is a silenced gunshot.
Oh.
The X-Men are quick to identify a dead zone to their senses in the room. Mastermind is in here with them.
Shooting. Wow.
And Storm's not about to let him leave. With a fury unfamiliar to the old Storm, she ravages the room with wind and water alike to the point that even her friends are crying uncle.
Yeah, but I think Mastermind's not going to be used to it either.
Finally, though, her tempest ends, and Storm takes only a moment to reflect on how easily its violence came to her, while Wolverine takes Mastermind prisoner at claw point. Well, prisoner might be an overstatement.
Oh.
He fully intends to fillet the motherfucker until Aurora stops him. It's a moment that gets the pair bickering, given Aurora nearly took him out herself.
Yeah.
But now she wants him sedated and taken prisoner.
Of course.
Kitty shows back up with a med kit for Cyclops, but even injured as he is, he's only got eyes for his beloved, lying still, face down in the water.
God damn it. That's... Well.
And she drowned again, which is also what happened to Jean.
Panicked, he cries out her name. Rushing over to her side, he desperately checks for a pulse, but he can't find one. He can't lose another love. Not again. And so desperately, he tries to breathe life back into her lungs.
Hey, that's correct.
And lucky boy, this time he succeeds. Madeline coughs up the water in her lungs, blearily staring up at him, and after a moment the pair embrace.
When you are saving a drowning victim with CPR, the first thing you need to do is give them a breath. Good job, Scott.
I'm sure he's looked into this.
I still don't trust her.
I think Scott Summers is CPR certified.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, that would make sense, considering.
He keeps up on it. He's very diligent.
On some later date, Scott stands at Jean Grey's grave, talking to his lost love. Dressed in a tuxedo, he leaves a bouquet of flowers at her headstone, speaking of how much he loved her, but aside from that, his need to embrace this something new with Madeline. Bidding his heart goodbye, Scott then leaves, and we next find ourselves back in Westchester, where a massive tent has been erected in the grounds of the school, filled with Scott's friends from his many adventures, all here for his wedding to Madeline Pryor.
What about his boss girlfriend? Is she here?
Nope.
Shocking. I can't believe she didn't respond to that invitation.
She didn't.
If she even got an invitation.
She didn't RSVP? So rude.
As the attendees all take their seats, Scott's stomach is doing flips, kind of wishing he'd eloped. But for a one-time orphan, the man's got so much family it took the whole tent to fill them. And they're all positively beaming. And then the music sounds, and she appears, radiant and white and looking unusually blonde.
You know what would be funny? if she also said he wasn't worthy?
Yeah, we've got 2 weddings in 3 issues.
God.
As Maddie makes her way down the aisle, the brothers Summers have one of my favorite exchanges ever. Scott asks if Alex has the ring, and Lux asks, "What's it worth to you?" "Wanna die, Alex?"
Jesus Christ.
Very brothers.
Makes me wonder if Chris has siblings.
Right.
It's a valid question.
I've never found an answer to that question.
Mm.
And so there, before
I'm sorry, I got distracted. Why is Kitty wearing a fucking headband?
Because she makes terrible choices about fashion.
I know I shouldn't question what she's wearing, but girl, what the fuck?
taking fashion inspiration from Corsair.
Seriously. Corsair is also wearing a headband with his tux.
Of course he is.
Of course.
He's a spaceman.
Yeah.
He has to show off that he's still a spaceman.
Well, to be fair, if he didn't have the headband on, we might not recognize him.
That's true.
Because he's kind of just a guy.
Yes.
And so there, before all the assembled crowd, the priest runs through their vows, and Scott Summers and Madeline Pryor are pledged to one another.
Wolverine's maybe not having the best time.
No, he's in a bit of a sour mood.
I can't imagine why.
It's not like he was in that position recently or anything.
No.
And they finally kiss deeply to seal the deal.
Oh boy.
How'd y'all like that?
I still have red flags about her.
Well, yes. I'll give that one a 5. I actually enjoyed it a lot.
It was good.
Yeah, I really like that. That's one of my favorite Scott issues.
Uh-huh.
In which he shows why he was the boss, man.
Yeah. Well, he showed his familiarity with all the other X-Men, and he also showed his ability to come up with a fairly complex and clever plan and then execute it by himself.
I do think Mastermind is punching a bit above his own weight, but sure.
He always does that, and also I don't think that's much of a surprise.
Yeah.
He did that last time, too.
He did, and the last time we saw him, he was driven insane. So...
Okay, fair. I still don't know how he did some of the things he did.
Yeah, I do question how the fuck he curled Piotr into a ball.
Yeah!
Maybe it just made him think that he was curled into a ball.
But that's not...
But he does do shit like that sometimes.
So what, is he like a latent telepath that nobody's ever really talked about?
I mean, what he does is kind of a sort of telepathy.
The illusions are so complete that you think you're being crushed into a ball.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
I buy that.
Sure.
Yeah.
And with that, I'll grant it a 5.
Yeah. 5.
I think Madeline's wedding dress is cute.
It's going to be so bad when this marriage explodes.
It's fine. Chris Claremont thought this was Endgame.
I cannot...
Ripley's told me so many times with incredulity that Chris Claremont thought that
Seriously?
Scott and Madeline were Endgame.
Seriously.
Yes.
Seriously, that she's not... She is still... This is still a walking red flag, Scott. The fact that she's not the Phoenix does not mean this is fine.
Yeah.
Scott, you have a problem.
Yeah.
In like 5 years, they're gonna be fighting because she's not Jean.
And then she's gonna punch him again.
Yes! There are red flags that are not related to the Phoenix. Also, why the hell couldn't Xavier read her mind?
Yeah, we have not addressed that at all.
Mastermind doesn't just have the ability to block.
Well, also, he wasn't there.
Xavier was just like, no, some people are just like that. Not many people, but some people.
And I guess it's a complete coincidence that one of those people is Scott's new fucking girlfriend who looks exactly like Jean Grey.
Red flag central.
It's completely a coincidence. Everything's gonna work out fine.
Madeline Pryor is the red flag store. Oh, sure, some of those weren't really red. They were planted. But the rest are still there.
So yeah, I enjoyed this issue.
Yeah, this is a good 175, a good anniversary issue, because I think it was an anniversary issue.
I thought
Let
I
me
saw
double
that,
check.
but I'll say this: the only reason I think she's not the Phoenix business works so well is
Yeah, it's the 20th anniversary issue.
Nice.
it's because she is still a giant walking red flag. It's very believable that something is terribly wrong here.
Right. I mean, no, I completely understand where the characters are coming from, honestly, because they're so focused on her being the Phoenix that they just don't acknowledge anything else.
Yeah.
You know? Like, that's the big thing that's taking up all their focus.
There are red flags here, and they don't know what those red flags are, and if Mastermind can easily slip in the Phoenix stuff, because...
They're not seeing the red flags because they're too busy looking at...
Jean.
Yeah.
Xavier's red flags, which have nothing to do with any of that, just somehow, coincidentally, it's fine.
Yeah. As long as she's not the Phoenix, it's fine.
Yes, that's the only concern. The only concern.
Mm-hmm.
He really thought this was Endgame.
He did, yes.
And everybody, there are all these people who are like...
It's a whole thing, huh?
It's a whole thing.
Well, let me guess, we will get to that more.
There are all these people who stand with Chris. Oh, it should have been Endgame, and
no.
it's ruined by
What's coming?
what's coming. Yeah,
Because
Scott's character, Madeline's character, Jean's character are all ruined by what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
But
and
this wasn't...
I don't agree.
This could never be a healthy relationship. Not really.
Right.
No.
She punched him.
I mean, even before that,
Yeah.
like I mentioned, a lot of his affection for her is based in someone else.
Yeah. He's put all this weight on her to be someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Someone that, ostensibly, she's not.
And she recognizes that and is angry about it and punched him.
Yeah. So there is...
Fundamentally, this relationship does not work.
This is unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
This castle is built on sand.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one day the sand would come out from under it, even if it wasn't like whatever weird bullshit I know is coming that I don't actually remember. I know it's weird bullshit, I just don't remember it.
It's always weird bullshit.
I'm glad you don't remember it, because that's going to make it better.
But the point is, it's still built on sand. It was always built on sand, and this was never healthy.
Sorry, I'm really looking at this cover where the Dark Phoenix is using like a laser claw to attack
Claw
Colossus.
beam!
Beams.
Claw beams.
It's a choice.
What the fuck is going on with Aurora's back?
Sexy pose. It's like that Scott pose.
Anyway, how about we put this baby to bed?
Sure.
Please.
Tell us what you think about the whole Maddie and Scott relationship down below in the comments.
Do you think it's in game?
If you have thoughts that Scott deserved getting punched in the face, fight me down in the comments. I'll fight you.
They will.
Do it, cowards.
Like, subscribe, hit that bell button. If you want to talk to us on social media, we are on Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, Blue Sky. You want to send us an email, we are comicsplaining@gmail.com. If you feel like donating a few bucks to the show, we are over at Coffee. Comicsplaining over there. Coffee.
Coffee.
Other than that, I think that's going to be it for us this week. We look forward to talking to you next time. Bye!
Bye!